one of the things that I want to do in this interview, I have here an envelope. In this envelope, I have a question. I believe nobody asked Hofesh before. So this is a secret question. I'll keep to the end. And we'll ask it in the end. So we'll build some tension here. Lots of good questions. Also, I'll try to take maybe a couple of questions from the audience during the interview. So, how many of you saw Hofesh work on the internet, or how many saw it live?
It's better live, by the way, just so you know.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with his work, Hofesh today is defined by, some authorities in the world of contemporary dance as a very promising artist, someone that is recognized to be a world leader in contemporary dance today. The Guardian said one of his generation's most interesting creators of dance, and so on and so on. Really, definitely, we have here tonight an opportunity to speak to someone that achieved in the industry, in the niche, is operating great achievements. And so in this interview, I want to, it's an opportunity to see, to kind of know a little bit more about dance, but more about Hofesh as a person and the journey that emerged, that took you to in this path. So my first question to you is, what made you for the first place want to dance? When did it start?
I actually started to dance, well, I was forced into dancing, actually. We have in Israel folk dance classes in schools, and it's every sort of Friday, which is here like Saturday, in the school hall with about 100 children, and everybody has to dance. And I absolutely hated it because I was a very shy boy, and I felt very uncomfortable with my body, And somehow, don't ask me how, the teacher thought I'm very talented, and she told me I have to go and go to a youth dance company that is doing folk dancing. And I sort of rolled into it. Basically, my best friend thought that this youth dance company is the best thing ever. So I went with him, and like in every good kind of legend, we did an audition. They didn't take him, they took me. And I kind of fell in love with a youth dance company. It kind of felt like a tribe, and I think it's something I didn't really have. I came from a very small family, and I don't know, suddenly I met like people from all around town, and it kind of felt like, I don't know, a promising, very special prospect, something that can open my life up. And I guess also the challenge was, the fact that I was shy was kind of interesting. It was something that pulled me into it. It was actually the fact that I didn't feel comfortable with it, so it was like doing something to myself on purpose, just to try to grow. That's how it started. And I'm still uncomfortable with everything, everywhere. So, life is a fucking nightmare, but but still there is something about dance, I think, that, I heard the Dalai Lama say that dancers, what they choose to deal with in their lives is fear. And, I can really connect to it. It's something that I always have to deal with. And, no matter what the newspapers say, it's always kind of there, and it's something you have to confront. And physicality is, a very interesting way to confront it without understanding really what you're doing.
So, here you go, you're developing as a dancer back in Israel, and you're dancing in this well-recognized international company, Batsheva.
Yeah.
And then you come into London and you start to play in this band, and then dance with another dance company here in London.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a moment where you say, I am going to be having my own company, I'm going to be a choreographer. What is this moment? What is this defining moment? What led you there?
Having my own company, actually I kind of felt like I had enough of everything else. It was, I felt I was part of a dance company, I was part of a band, and I felt some sort of really irritating, unsatisfactory feeling. I felt that something is not fulfilled, actually. And I didn't go into it with big plans. I didn't think like, wow, I'm gonna be a big choreographer, have a big company. I think the idea was to do something I really care about, something that really moves me, or that is really interesting for me to deal with. Doing anything else, no matter how it felt real for other people, felt fake to me. So I decided to take a year of my life and not accept any other kind of jobs as a dancer or musician. Live on sort of butter and bread and a bit of cheese and baked beans and some more things, but very, very basic life for 1 year, 2. And I kind of said, I'm going to go into this year, no matter what, I'm going to try to choreograph. Yes, money, no money, yes, people like it, don't like it. I was very, I don't want to say sure of myself, but I was very well fixed on that idea of trying to choreograph and really trying to give myself the time, which is really important. And I kind of made an appointment with myself in the other side of that year to see what happens. I completely missed the appointment because I was so busy by the end of that year, luckily, and I was then associate artist of the place, and I was already choreographing quite a lot, so I've been quite lucky.
So now you're choreographing, but one of the things that even I'm not professional in the contemporary dance world, when I first saw your work, I could see a very distinctive movement. The movement of your dancers is, was something else, something that could, soon enough became like, this is Hofesh Shechter. What inspired you to come with this original set of movements, where this is coming from?
I was, especially in the beginning when I choreographed, I was bothered really a lot about the question of being original. And I realized that the more I think about it, the more it doesn't happen, actually. The more I'm kind of like concerned about trying to do something special and new, I'm actually completely preoccupied with the things I'm trying to get away from. So what was the decision? The decision was not to try to do anything original, was to actually try to use the things that I know, and to go from there. There was a point where I wasn't worried about whether it's original or not. In a way, I think the only original thing can be an emotion, something that's real. The structures are always things that we take, from the past, from things that we learned in the past. So I think there was a moment for me where I was like, I'm just going to use whatever structure to express whatever emotion I feel. And I think emotion is something that is really connected to the now, to something that is happening to you. And even though people can recognize emotions and identify with them, it always feels like something unique when you become emotional. Somebody crying. We always see some people cry. You always see people cry, but when you're next to someone when they cry, you feel that there is something really unique about it, even though they're just crying, and the pattern of crying is known. So the answer is, I don't know. I don't feel original in any way. I feel like I reference a lot of things and a lot of emotions and a lot of ideas and a lot of systems that I learned in the past, and I guess not being afraid to use what you know and what you experienced in the past kind of frees me to do what I want, basically.
So for some of you that don't know Hofesh work, one of the things that makes him stand out in the arena of contemporary dance that he writes his own music. And I wanted to ask you about that because this is something quite unique and outstanding. The way I put this question is I want to read it from what I put it. Is it really about dance or something else? Is dance is the excuse for the music, or the music is the excuse for the dance? What comes first for you, the music or the dance?
Both of them are just an excuse to get together and party. That's the easy answer, but it's true that both of them are just a tool to experience a certain emotion or a certain sensation. And I really use, music and movement as a tool. I think about it not as something that I try to develop in itself to some sort of complexity. I'm not very mathematical in the way that I work. For me, it needs to have an impact, and in that sense, they're equal. And I would also add the light into it. Everything is equal. It's about creating atmosphere, a whole experience, a whole world. Because I think when we are human beings and we separated things, we analyze things really, really hard. And I think when you're sitting here now, if you're connected to your body, you're not separating it. You're not separating the experience to what kind of light there is here, what kind of sound. How do I move? How do you breathe? It's like a soup. It's one experience. And for me, the most important thing is this experience. And I'm like a magician or like a salesman. My job is actually to manipulate people through light and sound and time and space. And so it's very hard for me to give importance to any of these. Really, it's because
I'm going to go to a new set of questions, even deeper than that. But before we do that, I want to show another clip from a very piece that's called Political Manga. It's a great piece that's still showing around the world with the Hofesh Shechter company. Just before we play, anyone in the audience have some burning question for Hofesh? Yeah? Samantha?
Do you think anyone can learn to dance?
Do you think anyone can learn to dance? The question.
Yeah, everyone can learn to dance. Yeah.
Has everyone got what it takes to be as brilliant as others if they put in?
That's too deep of a philosophical question. Yeah, I think, yeah. I think, being able to dance, a lot of it is about taking off the layers and the things that block us and getting free in a way. But that's what it is for me, so maybe it would be easier for people to learn the kind of dance that I'm doing. And classical ballet, you really have to start when you're about 2 years old, otherwise forget about it. But the kind of dance that I'm interested in, I think it's about being able to connect to your emotions and to your sensations and translate it into physicality. So you can start practicing tonight at home. Yeah, you put some music, headphones, close the door, make sure nobody looks, and you start.
Where do you begin?
With yourself, with the body, with what you feel. Yeah.
So political mother, and I must share my own personal experience from. You can see what's going on in a show like Political Mother. It's really it's not staying in the definition of contemporary dance. It's just much bigger. The experience, the audience is there is one word to say like what is the experience of the audience, and it's mesmerizing. Your senses are being attacked in every possible way.
Yeah, the audience is basically forced in.
Yeah, it's forced in. It's you have the musicians, at least 10 or almost close to 20 musicians standing there, part of the dance. It's part of the dance performance, and there is a narrative, and there is a mystery, and it's really something that I don't think a video can do justice for. And it's very hard to deliver this kind of experience. But what I remember when I saw your work in your rooms at the Roundhouse, and we had this conversation with many people that a little bit have a view on the contemporary dance. And there were like few people that tried criticism about contemporary dance, and there was kind of a agreement in the room. There was like contemporary dance before Hofesh Shechter, and there is contemporary dance after Hofesh Shechter. So I just trying to share with you how big is the impact of the work of this man on his industry. It's quite profound. My question to you now, in the context of Political Mother, is political mother. What is there in these two very, when you bring these two words together, something very interesting.
So the dinner party answer or the real deep?
The real deep. Give us
The real deep actually is better in dinner parties, I think, which is I was harassed by the media and by anyone that comes to see my work, in the sense that because I'm from Israel, everything I do must be political. So, no matter what I put on stage, I'd be like, yeah, very political work, Like, I didn't even think about it. And I was, I thought it would be, it was kind of a game I was playing with myself. I thought, first of all, in my next piece, before I created this one, I said, I'll put the word political in the title, just to make it more difficult for everybody, But then, it made me ask myself as well questions about whether my work is political. I don't think my work is political because it doesn't have any agenda. It doesn't try to teach anyone anything or tell them what to do or how to do it. I do think that the work deals with the response of human beings to big pressures. A lot of them are political, political pressures, social structures, of many kinds, and I'm really interested about the way human beings are dealing with these massive systems that are crushing us or helping us or promising us big things. So I recognize that there is something that relates or deals with politics in a way, but it's not political. Anyway, long story short, I really enjoyed the connection between we have parents, we feel like we owe them a lot, mommy and daddy. Then we have sort of like the family, we have the tribe. In these days, it grew to be sort of like nations, and politics, in a way, is something that defines and is the new sort of tribes separation. And I enjoy that thought. I enjoy that thought that we feel in debt to our leaders, maybe as much as we feel in debt to our parents. And that sense that leaders are doing so much for us, and we feel then we have to serve them. We have to serve that system that they created. I think politicians, in a way, and politics is playing on a very natural instinct that we have, that is to serve the tribe. That worries me. And because of that, this title excited me.
And you choosing to deal with topics like identity, conflict, social pressure, is where is it coming from? Because it's very bold in the world of contemporary art today to deal directly with these topics.
You know, I mean, I'm coming from a country where identity is the #1 issue, you know. I always felt as well, my name in Hebrew means something very strange. It means freedom, and it's very unique in a way. So actually as a kid I grew up feeling like I don't belong, you know, but you do discover later in life that everybody feels that, so I feel fine now. But you know, I grew up in a place where there was a separation between nations, between people, and very quickly you have to ask questions about why and how does it work, and why does it work like that, and who decided all that. I think it's kind of like built in you know, in Israel to deal with these issues, and with a name like mine that is freedom, that was a bizarre name, and it means freedom. So you're kind of asking yourself, so what is freedom, and how free can I be, and what does it mean to be free, and all these, what can go into a very boring, you know, thought process. And then, you know, I decided to leave Israel because nobody believes me, but I prefer the weather in England. It's just much more exciting, you know. Israel is just hot, really, really hot, and I don't like being hot. Sorry?
I do.
You do?
I like it.
So, go to Israel. I really like it. Tel Aviv in the summer can be 35 degrees.
Please.
Yes? Okay. Well, the good thing about England, okay, I'm going to sell you England then. Good thing about it, you wake up in the morning, you don't know what's going to happen, and I love surprises. You don't know if it's going to rain, sun, something that keeps me fresh. But you know, coming to London as well is something that makes you, of course, deal with identity and a kind of like separation of nationalities and races, or whatever you want to call that.
Okay, I want to ask you, there was like, you know, in the WOW talks we have always, in the end of the talks, people asking questions. And we had, 1 year ago, we had a really interesting young artist, and he chose to finish his talk with the question, is it possible for art to be apolitical? What is your take on it? Is it possible at all for art to be apolitical?
If a person comes with that question to watch art, then no fucking chance. Because you can make anything become political, and you can make anything become just the simple thing that is in front of you. Whether it's a man in a uniform, that the uniform makes him feel very powerful, very good with himself, but it's all a made-up story inside a made-up system of, you know, a made-up country. So, you know, if you come with that question, then you're sort of lost anyway, and it's going to be political. I think to change the way you see things, you can think in an apolitical way, and therefore see artwork maybe in an apolitical way. I think it's more interesting, because politics is boring.
We're coming very close to this secretive question, but a couple of more, just before we got there. And this is like something maybe more personal now. You know, to me as a friend, and I'm sure for us all tonight, you come across as very, you know, shy, reserved, relatively to your work. Your work, when one watch your work, this is like very intense. This is like, there is no way one would imagine someone like nice like you is behind something like that.
You know, all serial killers are very quiet. Yeah.
So how do you explain
nice
this?
People.
How do you explain this to
You know,
yourself?
I don't need to explain it to myself. I have a lot bubbling inside me, and in a way, being a choreographer is a pretty comfortable place to. It's like a writer, you know. You make a lot of noise and you imagine something, you express yourself in a way with a remote control. You don't do it directly through yourself, but you use other bodies, you use other spaces. And in a way that I can totally understand it about myself, actually. I think a lot of times in my life I dreamed about being a writer, because I think hiding in your room and kind of like watching the rain and creating, it looked very romantic to me, or a painter or something like that. But I do like social interaction, and I think that's why I really love this thing, because in a way I can hide when I want, and I can express myself to very extreme levels in a way, without actually needing to do it myself. I imagine it, or I experience the emotions and the sensations, but I don't throw myself out there. I mean, I also dance in my work, but you're right, the work as a whole has this power that I don't think that one person can hold anyway. So,
thank you for sharing that. Anyone from the audience want to share? To ask a question for Hofesh? Yes, please.
I really get what you're saying about the different elements being equal, but when you're actually creating a piece, does the music come first and then the dance? Just in terms of the order that it comes out.
The creativity order.
Yeah.
So the question, I just say the question out. The question was, technically, in the work process, in the creative process, what comes first, the music or the dance?
Well, technically, I sit and think about ideas and write some stuff. Normally that's how it starts, just finding words that are interesting. Normally I would then work on sketches of music, but I never complete like the score. I never have like a whole score kind of ready, and I walk into the studio and I do loops of music. I just get a sense, I'm looking for an atmosphere. So when I find it in the music, I find like a sketch of music, 15 seconds it can be. Put it on a loop, take it to the studio, and then it really grows together. What starts to happen with the choreography demands something from the creation of the music, and the other way around. I can discover like a big bang at home making the music, and I will have to respond to it in the choreography. So it's a breathing thing.
What will be, for you personally, your Mount Everest, if there is any, in your industry, in your set of achievement, in your future? Do you think like that at all?
Not really, no. I don't really have, I don't consciously have targets in life, or stuff like that. Life is pretty hard as it is, and I think every day you have like little steps you have to go up and kind of see how it goes. So dealing with every moment is kind of enough.
So what's the future hold for Hofesh Shechter and Hofesh Shechter Company?
Absolutely, definitely death. Before that, some life. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm enjoying what's happening in my life now. There is a lot of creativity. There is a lot of opportunity, and until that bus hits me, I'm doing my best.
Yeah. Just wonder, this answer remind me a quote from an interview you gave. If you saw my work, you'd think we definitely are all doomed, but we are going down with a smile.
Yeah.
Let's summarize that. So we are getting very close to that, to this question that I believe nobody asked you before.
I'm curious because I was asked quite a lot of questions in my life.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
Let's see. But just before this one, what will be, or what is it, your biggest fear?
It's kind of a trick question for me because my biggest fear is fear itself. So, thinking about it too much is too dangerous. But I don't know. I can't really think of anything. Helen,
Hi.
what is my biggest fear?
I don't know. Mine is speaking in front of lots of people.
That's supposed to be the producer of my company, but fine, Helen.
Helen, there is you're still answering the question.
No, I'm done.
You're done. So there is a question here that I believe nobody asked Hofesh before. You will tell if I'm correct. Please.
It's like getting a birthday present. You must smile when you open.
Can you read it loud? Please.
If the present Hofesh were able to meet Hofesh at 18 years old, what piece of advice would he give him? 10 points. Never been asked that question. Yeah. Actually, luckily, someone gave me that piece of advice, and it was, don't worry.
Be happy.
No, be happy wasn't there. Don't worry. Just say don't worry. Yeah, it's, just don't worry. It's sort of a decision rather than...
Thank you, Hofesh, so much.